Welcome back, guys. For this video we're heading on from Edinburgh Castle and moving to Dunkeld, the Hermitage, which is just a magical forest. Some great waterfalls in there, and I will show you on screen next an image from there. So the journey up from Edinburgh to Dunkeld took a couple of hours. It's not a bad route when you get out of the city. The further up the A9 you get, the nicer the scenery is. And that used to be a fantastic road before they ruined it with roadworks and average speed cameras. But as you get towards the Hermitage, it really does become quite pretty. And we'll drop into the woods now. So welcome to the Hermitage at Dunkeld. This is one of the nicest places to walk around. I've been here a few times before. Still some bluebells popping around, and the greenery's all starting to show now. It's late spring, almost moving into summer. It's great here in autumn, but it's also wonderful any time of year. Literally any time of year it's great to come here. Snow, sun, doesn't matter, it's always brilliant. It's just got a real magical charm about it. So we're going to follow the river up. We're going to walk up to the Hermitage. It's about a quarter of a mile from the car park, and we'll have a look at some waterfalls when we get there. This really is a lovely place. So the falls are pretty spectacular, and this little hall is quite a nice little spot to stay in, and you go straight out into the woods. You really could shoot here with just about any lens at all. If you've got a really long zoom, you could go looking for the wildlife. They've got woodpeckers and all sorts of birds around. Personally, I think this is great to get as much of the landscape in as possible. So the widest lens you've got. The trees here are staggeringly tall, so it's worth trying to get some shots of those. And the waterfall itself is quite impressive too. So anything from 15mm upwards is great for around here. So for the Hermitage, we were wide open at our 15mm of the 15 to 35 focal length. Our shutter speed was quite low in this shot. We were trying to get a bit of blur on the water, so we were at 1/3 of a second. Our aperture had to go much higher to compensate for all the light that was coming in. So that was up at f22, and the ISO was down at its lowest, L, which is 50 ISO. So with those settings, we managed to blur the water a little bit and still do a handheld shot with a really wide field of view. Subject to detect was set to none, and shutter mode was electronic. We could do electronic semi-long exposure because we didn't go below that magic number of 0.5 of a second. If you want to go below that, you have to switch to mechanical shutter. And that's it for settings. So the trees really do steal the show on the way in. As you can see, they're incredibly tall and very densely packed in the forest. It's really nice to walk in through those. And then at the end, you reach a sort of archway or the hall and go through to see the waterfall itself. And that's a really lovely place to sit, especially if it's been raining recently. So this is the Hermitage at Dunkeld in all of its glory. It's such a wonderful place to visit. I really do recommend you go there. Walking through the forest is brilliant, and the waterfalls are great as well. You can see salmon leaping there if you go at the right time. It's just a nice place to sit. I do recommend it. On the shot we've got here, we've got a lovely effect on the water, a little bit of long exposure, which helps. The green of the forest looks great. I quite like the natural vignette. It's quite dark at the edges and brighter in the centre. I might exaggerate that a little bit. And then the rock in the foreground looks quite nice. So we'll duplicate the layer, and we'll start with a bit of a vignette. A number of ways you can do a vignette. So I'm going to just use a massive brush. I'm going to put the brush to its maximum size of 2,500 pixels. Opacity 25%. And we're just going to use a big brush to darken the outside, especially around these corners. and you end up with this focal point in the center of the image there. I will crop in a little now. I'm just going to chop out essentially all dead space. There's not really anything going on there, and bring us in a little closer. I'll make the trees punch a little bit, so Control L for levels, and I'm going to move the center point slider. Okay, so we're just brightening up that center of the image there. 1.2 we've gone to, which looks nice. It's a little bit off balance. I think we could probably do with shifting the focus more central. I do want the waterfall dead center in this image, and I don't want to lose too much of the trees. I like those. I don't mind if we lose the rock a bit, but that probably offsets quite nicely. I think that's okay there. In terms of the sharpness, we could probably pull that up a little bit. Filter sharpen, unsharp mask. About 80% and a radius of around 1 pixel is normally where I end up settling. Okay, we'll have a quick look at brightness and contrast. So we can stand to brighten, plus 20. And the contrast plus 14. Before, after. So that's nice too. I may pull up this rock in the foreground actually, so I'll pull up curves with Control M and just take the lower part of the curve up. Too big a change on the rest of the image. Okay, so because we want to localize it, we'll use the dodge tool. Big brush, 700 pixels, shadows, and about 15% exposure will work. And we'll just pull up this a little bit further. Don't really want to affect too much else. Okay, that's okay. And then we'll just pull back with our vignette again. 25% shadows, massive brush. Circle around the image again. I might keep it as simple as that. It's a nice little waterfall as a focal point with some great scenery. I think we will call that our final image for today. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you haven't been up to the Hermitage, I highly recommend it. It's a really spectacular place. Great if you've got kids and if you like photography. If you enjoyed the content, please do like and subscribe, and join us for the next one where we'll head to the Pack Horse Bridge.